Hello everyone, this is Michael Cuomo from Integrating Technology in the Curriculum from Stockton University's Master of Arts in Instructional Technology program. This week in Module 7 we're looking at real-time assessment. So basically the fundamental question we're looking at here is how can we use technology to enhance our assessment of students? And so this week the readings sort of talk about the use of this technology called clickers. It's basically a technology where students have a device of some sort, and the instructor asks a question, posts a few options for answers, and the students use their device to select the answer, and the information is presented in real time. And so if you have a class of, 20, 30, 40, bigger, the instructor can get the real-time feedback on how students are doing and can use that to, go into more detail in a subject or adapt their course in other ways. And sort of the evidence shows that, there is some evidence that students' performance is better with the use of these clickers. But there's a lot of evidence showing that students really find these kinds of things pleasing. It increases student engagement, promotes the active learning that's needed in this new 21st century changing education, and creates more discussions among each other. So for my curriculum specifically, I would like to integrate these clicker program as much as possible. There's sort of a lot of different options out there. Some are paid, some are free. For me personally, for my curriculum, I like these free apps, things like Plickers, Quickfire, Kahoot. They're really nice because they're sort of cross-platform. They're free. They're easy to use, and provide the data and stuff. It may not necessarily be as much data analysis as the paid applications, but for what I'm interested in, just getting that instant feedback so the instructor can assess student learning, and in the formative assessment kind of way of, okay, how are we progressing along this lesson? Do I need to talk anything in more detail? Do I need to change the way I'm doing things? And I think these three apps, provide some value. Each of them are a little different. For example, the Quickfire app is an application for both Apple and Android. Ask a question, use the app to answer the question. The instructor gets the anonymous feedback. Kahoot is very similar. The nice thing about Kahoot is it's not done by apps. It's done through the web, which you can access in your mobile device. So you can access it literally on any device. Same idea. You ask a question, you respond back. Plickers is a little different. Students get a card, piece of paper, like a piece of paper with a symbol on it. It's like a QR code, and depending on how they hold the card, they would hold the card up, and the instructor walks around with a tablet or a phone using the camera to read these cards, and assesses the feedback through that. Those are nice if you don't have a device on hand. You can use these cards. Check them out if you haven't seen them. They're really cool. Again, they're free, so it's better than paying for things. But I'm going to use them to integrate into my curriculum. And I'm going to do it through these sort of 5 ways. One of the readings, Donahue says, clickers support learning in these 5 ways by assessing students' prior knowledge, monitoring what they're understanding for the current information they're learning, provides them with the immediate feedback, it engages them, and it promotes the discussions and the peer interaction by getting them involved in their education. And so sort of through these 5 areas, integrating those tools and devices in for my curriculum, that's the path I'm taking. And just to make a quick note, I all these things are integrating with each other, all the different modules. So, you know, these clickers, we're using the mobile devices. Last module we talked about mobile devices. You know, all these kinds of things are sort of integrating and playing in with one another. It's not just these separate silo apps. Everything is one big, integrated thing of education, of these educational tools, which is kind of cool. So let's get into the elements of thought. So I talked about the purpose before. It's assessing students' learning and providing their real-time feedback so students can improve themselves. And the question for how to use technology to assess students' learning. And ideally, the benefits of technology being that it's instant, it's ubiquitous, it's flexible, stuff like that. Information, so the readings, obviously, Donahue I really found interesting. The research I've done on the actual looking at the different tools, talking about the features and why you should use this app and everything. It provides some neat stuff. Helps me understand, why the benefits of using this, and also my own experience using real-time assessments feedback. Not really got a chance to use clickers a lot, but using quizzes and stuff in online learnings, that's helped me a lot. So my expectation of the outcome of this integration, one, students will get the immediate feedback they need, and more importantly, the instructors will know where to focus their resources, how to adapt their lessons and courses, and ultimately this will all engage students and motivate them to become more interested in their learning and more active learners. Concepts and theories. I would say the ADDIE model is a big thing, particularly the evaluation. I'm a big proponent of the idea of constantly making sure that what I'm doing is working, and if it's not working, fixing it. And this is especially important because students learn differently. They have different needs, different tools pop up. So making sure that you're always on top of it. Just because it worked one time doesn't mean it's going to work all the times. And also important, the idea of aligning these assessments with the instructional activities and the learning objectives to make sure everything is working. These tools are really cool. These apps are really cool. And if they're going to engage students, that's great. But the bigger picture is you're trying to make sure that students are learning what they need to learn. So I think a big problem with education technology sometimes is people integrate it just because it's cool, but they don't have sort of bigger picture of how this is going to work. And that sort of assessment aligning, the instructional alignment of assessments, instructional activities, learning objectives, everything coming together on the same page is so important. My assumptions. So as always, the stakeholders involved in this, are they willing to integrate this technology in their curriculum? It offers benefits and stuff, but ultimately, if nobody wants to do it, nobody wants to use it, then it doesn't matter how cool it is, nobody's going to use it. I'm also assuming too that there's going to be support and training available. So not only they know how to use the device and use the tool, but also how to create meaningful assessments. And, not just asking, very basic questions. That's not really assessing anything, just testing memory, but more sort of trying to get to that, higher level thinking, making sure students are grasping the concepts more than just memorizing the answers. And then also, my assumption is that there's a sufficient amount of infrastructure in place to support these technologies. So do the students have mobile devices? Does the room have ample internet? Some way of displaying the results so that everybody can see it? Things like that. So the implications and consequences, my expectation, the implications of using this is that instructors will get a better, more data-based understanding of their students' learning. and they can use that information to provide meaningful feedback to students and adapt their classes. And students can then take that information and adapt their learning. Again, one of the major themes I'm getting out of with technology integration is it's changing the dynamic and the relationship between instructor and teacher, or instructor and student, where instructor used to be the person who disseminates knowledge, and the student passively grasps the knowledge. Whereas now you're getting the instructor's more of a guide. Students are taking more control in their active learning and everything. And so this this use of this technology is helping to make that a reality. Point of view. So one, do students, do they have a mobile device? If they do have a device, what happens if it's dead? So maybe having, if you really want to use Kahoot, but then you have clickers as a backup, that way in case somebody doesn't have a device or they can't share or something. For the instructors, do they want to integrate this in their class? How are they going to use the data? Is it just going to basically be for their own understanding? Are they actually going to grade stuff? And then how is that going to work? Administrative, it's providing the training and support. Are they going to support using this free tool? They want to invest in something else? Real quick, back to the students. Is this going to be the free tool or the paid one? Are they going to have to pay a lot of money to buy this clicker device, which they're going to use in one class, versus using their phone, which they use in all parts of their life? These kinds of point of views, they're important, and it's important to get an understanding, I think, before you integrate this technology. So, asking students, hey, what do you think of using this? Doing a test run, saying, hey, what do you think of this? Do you want to use it? Do you not want to use it? That plays on the idea of evaluation that I was talking about before, that constant, how is this working? How do I fix it? How do I make it better? So, the clicker tools, I think they're really cool. I think they're a perfect example of how technology can be used to enhance learning, and how you can take advantage of these opportunities that technology affords. As with everything that we're doing with this integrating technology, it's not just a simple, yep, let's do that. It requires careful planning, careful evaluation, making sure you consider all sides, and ultimately, like I said, seeing how it works and making it better as it goes along. So that's what I like to do. I think it's a really cool tool, and I like to use it as much as possible. Thank you. Let me know if you have any feedback. It's much appreciated. Thank you.